Dude, welcome to the beach life! Or if you're from the US, Virtual Resort Spring Break from the early 2000s. So oftentimes when I talk about retro games, I get hit hard by nostalgia. Some of those games seem so amazing, and when I try to replay them, it's really hard to figure out what I liked about them in the first place. Not so with Beach Life that I recently rediscovered. This holiday resort simulation game got me hooked again immediately, and I wondered why. Then it hit me. It's one of the most chill games that you can imagine. So let's check it out. Your job in the game is to manage a holiday resort. You can either play one of 12 scenarios or go for the sandbox mode, but you have to unlock the locations for the sandbox mode by finishing the corresponding scenario first or use a cheat code. The scenarios usually confront you with a mismanaged resort and you have to achieve certain goals like picking up all the trash or get more women to the resort. Yeah, you heard that right. There's this underlying dating and party theme, where certain amusements will attract more people of a specific sex and people will get upset if there aren't enough tourists of the opposite one. Fortunately, the game doesn't go into deep into that topic or the crude humor depicted on the game's box, and you can easily ignore those parts or take them for what they are. In general, the game is your typical mix of constructing new buildings, managing stuff and setting prices. One nice addition is the day-night cycle, where some attractions only open up during certain times and you have to manage your staff shifts accordingly. Also noteworthy is the simulation part of the game, where each tourist actually has a list of needs and thoughts and will act and move in a believable and comprehensible way. So far we have a nice but inconspicuous game, so what makes Beach Life special? As I said in the intro, it's the fact that it's very chill. Obviously having a beach and vacation setting helps. It's nice to see the ocean and palm trees in the sun or the shimmering pools and glowing torches at the beach barbecue during the night. And you can't talk about the game without mentioning the soundtrack and the overall audio atmosphere. During the day you have chill lounge music mixed with waves crashing and people chattering, and during the night you get some low intensity club tunes and hear the crowds just having a good time. And when the sun dawns, everything becomes very quiet and serene when your cleaning stuff starts early in the morning to take care of the mess the party people left behind. But it's not so much the audio or visuals of the game that I wanted to talk about today. The gameplay itself follows the chill vibes of the game very well. The pacing is very well done, there's almost always something to do, but it's never really that urgent. You always have the next building you want as a goal and it never takes too long to get there. It's not a complicated game, at least when you're playing in sandbox mode, not very challenging either. Once you've got the basics for your resort down, people will generally be happy, and it's all about building your dream place and enjoying it with your guests together. The game is more about optimization and progression than challenge or failure, which I find very interesting and alluring. Maybe you've heard of the flow state before. The perfect mindset where a game's challenge exactly matches your skill and you forget everything around you and become deeply engaged. You are neither bored nor overwhelmed, but just excited to play the game. This state is often seen as the main goal for your game design, to an extent that it's sometimes almost presented as it's the only way to make a game fun, or that challenge is the only way to create the state of flow. I argue that there is a somewhat similar mindset that you can enjoy just as much that doesn't rely on challenge at all. It's a state of quiet and comfort, about not thinking too much, but just being in the moment, a zen-like experience if you will. And Beach Life is really great at achieving this because the game's theme matches so well with its gameplay. I'm personally observing that I crave this type of game more and more with age. After a day of work I rather disengage and chill out than having this very exciting but demanding state of flow. Interestingly though, few games in the genre seem to have recognized this. Take Planet Zoo as an example, or to a much more extreme extent, Jurassic World Evolution. They are games of a similar genre, but they are constantly trying to throw new challenges on you, and Jurassic World even with time pressure. Sometimes the amount of drama in these kind of games feels actually rather forced than believable. I mean, would we really expect dinosaurs to break out that often if we had such a park in real life? I think this comes from the belief that games have to be challenging, that a game without a challenge is not a real game. How often have I read a magazine review about a game where the reviewer complained that the game more or less plays itself, that there are no meaningful decisions in there, no high stakes. I think those things are what we historically expect from a game, because when we look back at the first ones, they just didn't offer much more than a challenge. They were too simple to engage you in other ways. Sure, almost every Atari or arcade game uses the flow model, but you shouldn't force that on every game today. I hope more games in the future will break free and embrace a different style of gameplay, where it's not about just killing the next boss, but maybe just watching your island grow. Popular games like Animal Crossing or The Sims make me optimistic, but I still feel like there's more room in some of my favorite genres, so why not have a chill RPG or a chill racing game? So what do you think? Are games without a challenge automatically boring, or do you enjoy just to immerse yourself in a beautiful world building something up? What games have you played that made you forget what time it was without putting you under any pressure? I hope you liked this video. If you want to check out Beach Life for yourself, I have put a video link in the description to get it running smoothly under Windows 10. If you want to see more content like this, consider subscribing my channel, and with that, see ya!